Chapter 1 of Book 2 of Physics by Aristotle, translated by Thomas Taylor. This LibriVox recording is in the public domain. Recording by Jeffrey Edwards. Chapter 1. Of beings, some subsist from nature, but others through other causes from nature. Indeed, animals subsist in their parts, together with plants and simple bodies, such as earth and fire, air and water. For we say that these, and things of this kind, subsist from nature. But all the things we have enumerated appear to differ from those which do not consist from nature. For all such things as subsist from nature appear to contain in themselves a principle of motion and permanency, some according to place, others according to increase and diminution, and others according to changing quality. But a bed, a garment, and anything else of this kind, so far as they obtain these appellations, and so far as they are produced by art, have no innate impulse of mutation. So far, however, as it happens to them to be stony or earthy, or mingled from these, so far they possess this impulse, nature being, as it were, a certain principle and cause of motion and rest, to that in which it is primarily inherent, essentially, and not according to accident. I say, not according to accident, because a man may be the cause of health to himself, in consequence of being a physician. At the same time, however, he possesses medicine, not so far as he is made well, but it happens that the same person is a physician and acquires health. Hence, these are sometimes separated from each other. In a similar manner, everything else which is made subsists, for none of them contains in itself the principle of making, but some of them have this principle in other things, and external to themselves, as a house and everything else which is made by the hand, and others have it in themselves indeed, yet not essentially, viz., such things as are causes to themselves from accident. Such, therefore, is nature. But those things possess nature which contain a principle of this kind. And all these are essences or substances. For nature is always a certain subject, and is in a subject. These things, too, are said to subsist according to nature, and such as are essentially inherent in these. Thus, for instance, fire tends upwards according to nature, for this property is not nature, nor does it possess nature, but is by nature and according to nature. What nature, therefore, is has been said, and also what a subsistence is, by and according to nature. But to attempt to demonstrate that nature is, would be ridiculous, for it is evident that there are many beings of this kind, and to demonstrate things apparent through such as are unapparent is the province of one who is incapable of judging what is essentially, and what is not essentially known. That some, however, may be thus affected is not immanifest, for one who was blind from his birth may reason about colours, so that men of this kind must necessarily discourse about names, but understand nothing of the subject of their discourse. But to some, nature, and the essence of things which subsist from nature, appears to be that which is first inherent in everything, and which is essentially destitute of order and ornament. Thus, for instance, wood is the nature of a bed, and brass of a statue, of which, according to Antiphon, this is a token, that if some one should bury a bed, and the rottenness should receive a germinating power, a bed would not be generated, but would, as if the disposition, which is according to rhythm and art, were inherent from accident, but the essence, that which remains, and which to these things is continually passive. If also each of these is affected after the very same manner towards something else, as for instance, brass and gold towards water, but bones and wood towards earth, and in like manner anything else, these things, he says, are their nature and essence. Hence, by some earth, by others fire, by others air, and by others water, is said to be the nature of things. And by others this is asserted of some, and by others again of all of these. For that which some one of these apprehends to be a thing of a certain quality, whether it be one or many, this and so many, they say, is every essence, for all other things are the passions, habits, and dispositions of these. They also asserted that any one of these whatever is perpetual, because no change is produced in them from themselves, but that other things are infinitely generated and corrupted. According to one mode, therefore, nature is thus denominated, viz., the first subject matter to everything which contains in itself the principle of motion and mutation. But after another mode, it is denominated form which subsists according to definition. For as art is called that which subsists according to art, and that which is artificial, so likewise nature is both called that which is according to nature, and that which is natural. Nor must we say that anything, for instance a bed, possesses a subsistence according to art, if it is a bed only in capacity, and has not yet the form of a bed. Nor must we say that it is art. Neither in things which consist from nature must this be asserted, for that which is flesh or bone in capacity does not yet possess its proper nature until it receives form according to definition, by defining which we say what flesh is or bone. Nor does it subsist by nature, so that the nature of things which contain in themselves a principle of motion will be after another manner morphe and form, which are not separate except according to definition. But that which is composed from these is not nature, but consists from nature, as for instance man. And this is nature in a greater degree than matter. For everything is then said to be, when it is form in energy, entelechia, rather than when it is in capacity. Farther still, man is generated from man, but a bed is not generated from a bed. Hence, they say that not the figure, but the wood is nature, because if it should germinate, it would not become a bed, but wood. If, therefore, this is art, form also is nature, for man is generated from man. Again, nature, considered as generation, is a path to nature, for it does not subsist in the same manner as healing, which is said to be a path not to medicine but to health, since it is necessary that healing should be procured from medicine, and not lead to medicine. Nature, however, does not thus subsist with respect to nature, but that which is born proceeds or takes its beginning from something to something. To what, then, does it proceed? Not to that from which, but to that to which. Form, therefore, is nature. But form and nature are predicated in a twofold respect, for privation also is in a certain respect form. Whether, however, privation and something contrary do or do not subsist about simple generation will be considered hereafter. Chapter 2. Since then we have defined in how many ways nature is predicated, let us after this consider in what a mathematician differs from a natural philosopher. For natural bodies have superficies and solidities, lengths and points, about which the mathematician speculates. We must also consider whether astrology, i.e., astronomy, is different from, or a part of physics. For if it is the business of a natural philosopher to know what the sun or moon is, but not any of the essential accidents pertaining to these, an absurdity will ensue, especially because those who discourse concerning nature appear also to speak concerning the figure of the sun and moon, and to inquire whether the earth and the world are spherical or not. The mathematician, therefore, is also employed about these, yet not so far as each of them is the boundary of a natural body. Nor does he contemplate the accidents of these so far as they happen to things of this kind, and on this account he separates them from their subjects, for they are separable by intellection from motion. This, however, is of no consequence, nor is falsehood produced by those who thus separate. But they do not perceive that they do this who assert that there are ideas, for they separate natural things, which are less separable than such as are mathematical. And this will become manifest if any one endeavors to unfold the definitions of each, that is to say, as well of things themselves as their accidents. For the odd and the even, the straight and the curved, and still further, number, line, and figure, are without motion, but this is not the case with flesh and bone and man. For these are denominated in the same manner as a flat nose, and not in the same manner as that which is curved. This also is evident from the more physical of mathematical concerns, such as optics, music, and astrology, for in a certain respect they subsist contrary to geometry. For geometry speculates concerning a physical line, but not so far as it is physical, and optics considers indeed a mathematical line, yet not so far as it is mathematical, but so far as it is physical. Since, however, nature is twofold, viz., form and matter, we should contemplate physical things as if we were considering, with respect to flatness of nose, what it is. Hence, things of this kind are neither without matter, nor do they subsist according to matter. For some one also may doubt concerning this, since there are two natures, viz., which of these the natural philosopher makes the object of his contemplation, or whether he considers that which consists from both these. But if that which consists from both, he also speculates each of these natures. Whether, therefore, is it the province of the same or of a different science to know each of these? For if we look to the ancient philosophers, it would seem that matter alone should be regarded by the natural philosopher. For Empedocles and Democritus attended but in a small degree to form, and the very nature or essence of a thing. But if art imitates nature, and it is the province of the same science to know form and matter to a certain extent, as, for instance, it is the province of a physician to know health, bile, and phlegm, and in like manner of an architect to know the form and matter of a house, viz., that the matter consists of tiles and wood, and similarly with respect to other things. If this be the case, it is also the province of the physical science to have a knowledge of both natures. Further still, it belongs to the same science to know that for the sake of which a thing subsists, the end and such things as exist for the sake of these. But nature is an end, and that for the sake of which a thing subsists. For of those things of the motion of which, since it is continued, there is a certain end, this end is the last, and that for the sake of which the motion subsists. Hence the poet was ridiculously led to say, quote, "An end it has, for which it was produced." Close quote. For not everything which is last deserves the name of end, but that which is the best. Since, however, the arts produce matter, some of them simply, but others accommodated to the work, and we use all these as if they subsisted for our sake, for we also in a certain respect are an end, since that for the sake of which a thing subsists is considered in a twofold respect, as we have observed in our books concerning philosophy. This being the case, there are two arts which rule over and possess a knowledge of matter, viz., the art which uses it, and that which is architectonic of effective arts. Hence also that which uses matter is in a certain respect architectonic. They differ, however, so far as the one, viz., the architectonic, has a knowledge of form, but the other is called architectonic as being productive of matter. For the pilot knows what form the rudder of a ship should have, and orders it to be made. But another artist knows from what wood and what motions it will be made. In those productions, therefore, which are according to art, we make the matter for the sake of the work, but in natural productions it already exists. Again, matter belongs to the class of relatives, for a different matter pertains to a different form. How far, therefore, ought a natural philosopher to know form and what a thing is? Shall we say in the same manner as a physician ought to know a nerve, or a brazier brass to a certain extent? For everything which is produced by nature is for the sake of something, and natural philosophy is conversant with those things which are separable, indeed in form, but are in matter. For man and the sun generate man. But how that which is separable subsists, and what it is the business of the first philosophy to determine. Chapter 3. These things being defined, let us consider, with respect to causes, what they are, and how many there are in number. For since this treatise is for the sake of knowing natural things, and we do not think that we know anything till we are in possession of the cause on account of which that thing subsists, and this is to be in possession of the first cause, this also must be done by us in discoursing concerning generation and corruption, and all physical mutation, that knowing the principles of these, we may endeavor to refer to them each of the objects of investigation. Cause, therefore, is after one manner said to be that from which, being inherent, something is produced. As, for instance, brass is the cause of the statue, silver of the bowl, and the genera of these. But after another manner, cause is form and paradigm, and this is the definition of the essence of a thing, and the genera of this. Thus, for instance, the form of the diapason is 2 to 1, and in short, number, and the parts which are contained in the definition. Further still, cause is that whence the first principle of mutation or rest is derived. Thus he who consults is a cause of this kind, and a father of his child, and in short the maker of that which is made, and that which changes of that which is changed. Again, cause is as the end, and this is that for the sake of which, as health of walking, for why does he walk? We say that he may be in health, and having thus said, we think that we have assigned the cause. This cause also is seen in such things as are for the sake of the end, when something else moves which has an intermediate subsistence. Thus leanness, or purgation, or medicines, or instruments are for the sake of health, for all these are for the sake of the end. They differ, however, from each other, because some of them are works, and others instruments. Causes, therefore, are nearly predicated in so many ways. But it happens, since causes are multifariously predicated, that there are also many causes of the same thing, and this not from accident. Thus the statuary's art and the brass are causes of the statue, not according to anything else, but so far as it is a statue, yet not after the same manner, but the one is a cause, as matter, and the other as that whence motion is derived. Some things also are the causes of each other. Thus, labor is the cause of a good habit of body, and a good habit of body of labor, though not after the same manner, but the one as the end, and the other as the principle of motion. Again, the same thing is the cause of contraries. For that which when present is the cause of this effect, is sometimes when absent said by us to be the cause of a contrary effect. Thus we say that the absence of the pilot is the cause of the loss of the ship, the presence of whom is the cause of its safety. But all the causes which we have now enumerated fall into four most manifest modes. For letters are the causes of syllables, matter is the cause of things which consist from workmanship, fire and things of this kind are the causes of body, parts of the whole, and hypotheses of the conclusion, all which are causes as that from which a thing proceeds. Of these causes, however, some are as a subject, as for instance parts, but others as essences, viz., whole, composition, and form. But seed, a physician, he who consults, and in short, he who makes, are all of them causes, as that whence the principle of mutation, or permanency, or motion is derived. Others again are causes as the end, and the good of other things. For that for the sake of which a thing subsists ranks as that which is best, and the end of other things. It makes, however, no difference whether we say the end is good itself, or apparent good. Such, therefore, and so many are the species of causes. The modes of causes, however, are many in number, but they will be fewer when collected into a sum. For causes are multifariously predicated, and of those which are of a similar species, one is prior and posterior to another. Thus the physician and the artist are the causes of health, the double and number of the diapason, and always things which contain are thus related with respect to particulars. Causes also are predicated as accidents, and the genera of these. Thus Polyclitus is in one way the cause of the statue, and in another way the statuary, because it happens to the statuary to be Polyclitus. Those things likewise which contain accident are called causes, as if man, or in short animal, should be the cause of a statue. Of accidents also some are more remote and proximate than others, as if, for instance, something white and a musician should be said to be the cause of a statue. But besides all these causes, and those which are denominated according to accident, some things are called causes from the power which they possess, and others from the energy which they exert. Thus the builder is the cause of the house being built, or the builder when building. The like also may be said in those things of which the causes are such as we have above enumerated. Thus, for instance, there is a cause of this particular statue, or of statue, or in short, of image. There is also a cause of this brass, or of brass, or in short, of matter, and in a similar manner with respect to accidents. These two and those are denominated connectedly. For instance, not Polyclitus, nor a statuary, but Polyclitus the statuary. At the same time, however, all these are in multitude six, but they are predicated in a twofold respect. For they are predicated either as particulars, or as genus, or as subsisting according to accident, or as the genus of accident, and either as these connectedly, or simply considered. All these two subsist either energizing or according to capacity. They so far, however, differ that the energizers of particulars at the same time exist, and cease to be with the things of which they are the causes. Thus this man who heals is contemporary with him who is healed, and this builder with the building. But causes which are denominated according to capacity do not always subsist together, for the house and the builder do not perish at one and the same time. It is, however, necessary always to investigate the supreme cause of everything, as in our investigations of other things. Thus, for instance, a man builds because he is a builder, but he is a builder according to the building art. This, therefore, is the prior cause, and so in everything. Further still, it is necessary to investigate the genera of genera, and particulars of particulars, as a statuary is the cause of a statue, but this statuary is the cause of this statue. We should also explore the capacities of capabilities and the energizers of things affected by energy. How many causes, therefore, there are, and after what manner they are causes, let it be considered as sufficiently defined by us. Chapter 4. Fortune also and chance are said to be in the number of causes, and many things are said both to be and to be produced through fortune and chance. Let us consider, therefore, after what manner fortune and chance subsist in these causes, and whether the former of these is the same with or different from the latter, and in short, what each of them is. For with some it is dubious whether these things have a subsistence or not. For, say they, nothing is produced from fortune, but there is a certain definite cause of all such things, as we say are produced from chance or fortune. Thus, for instance, the cause of a man fortuitously coming into the forum, and there finding what he wished indeed to find, but did not think he should, is the wish of buying something when he came into the forum. In like manner, in other things which are said to originate from fortune, some cause may always be assigned, and not fortune. For if fortune were anything, it would truly appear to be absurd, and some one might doubt why no one of the ancient wise men, when assigning the causes of generation and corruption, has ever defined anything concerning fortune. As it seems, however, they did not think that anything is produced from fortune. But this is wonderful. For many things are produced and have a subsistence from fortune and chance, and though they were not ignorant that each of these may be referred to a certain cause of things which are generated according to the ancient assertion which subverts fortune, yet at the same time they all say that some of these are from fortune and others not. Hence some mention should have been made by them of fortune. They did not, however, think that fortune was anything belonging either to friendship or strife, or fire or intellect, or anything else of things of this kind. They are chargeable, therefore, with absurdity, whether they did not conceive that it had a subsistence, or whether fancying that it had, they omitted it, especially since it was sometimes employed by them. Thus Empedocles says that the air is not always separated in the highest place, but just as it may happen, for in his Cosmopoeia he says, quote, thus it then chanced to run, though varying oft. Close quote. He also says that the greater part of the members of animals were generated from fortune, but there are some who assign chance as the cause of this heaven, and of all mundane natures, for they say that the revolution and motion which distinguishes and establishes the universe in this order are from chance. And this indeed is well worthy of admiration, that they should say that animals and plants neither subsist, nor are produced from fortune, but either nature, or intellect, or something else of this kind, is the cause of them. For not anything casual is produced from each seed, but from that an olive, and from this a man. But that the heavens, and the more divine of things apparent, should be produced from chance, and that of these there should be no such cause, as they acknowledge there is of plants and animals. Indeed, if it were so, this very thing will be worthy of consideration, and it will be well to say something concerning it. For beside the absurdity of what is said, the assertion is still more absurd, when we see that nothing in the heavens is produced from chance, and that in things which do not originate from fortune, many things happen fortuitously, though it is reasonable to suppose that the very contrary should take place. There are some, however, to whom fortune appears to be a cause, but immanifest to human conception, as being something divine and more demoniacal, so that we must consider what each of these is, and whether chance and fortune are the same with, or different from each other, and how they fall into definite causes. End of chapter 4 of Book 2. Recording in memory of Mitchell Edwards.